Women are becoming a far more important demographic in the luxury watch space. Selling to women has always been important. This isn't a new thing, but I would submit to you that the female watch buying demographic has never been larger, and the brands that are getting women's watches right now are the brands that are thriving. And frankly speaking, there aren't a lot of watch brands that are thriving right now. A few months ago, I received a comment for one of my hot takes videos. I'll put it on the screen now, but the headlines were, "Watch companies are clueless, women are massive consumers of luxury goods. If the watch industry can capture women, their market share could be twice as large." And I remember reading this and being kind of hesitant. I thought, yeah, but it's a bit of a boys' club. Since about the mid-century, men have been their target demographic, and a lot of the industry is built around that. But I've been really stewing on this one. I've been possibly overthinking it. Not only do I think Nadia is right, I think her comment explains why some brands are on the rise and why others are on the decline. Women's watches in the modern sense is a pretty easy world to navigate. It's usually pink it, shrink it, and quartz it. Often taking men's models, making them pink and purple with a diamond bezel and sticking a quartz movement inside. And if it's not quartz, it's almost always an inferior movement. It's not that watch brands don't care about women, it's just that women don't represent a large portion of purchasers. Watches are generally seen as a more masculine item, the one piece of jewelry men have, and something that is passed along, feeling paternal in nature. Women have always been a part of watch history. The first wristwatch ever made was in 1810 for the Queen of Naples by Abraham Louis Breguet, and the first Swiss wristwatch was created by Patek Philippe for a countess in Hungary. Women were literally the first patrons of wristwatches and the genesis of the miniaturization of timekeeping. However, throughout the 20th century, they moved into being more masculine items, with pocket watches being converted into wristwatches during war times, and by the mid-century were tools and instruments used for more masculine professions and pastimes like diving and aviation. And that's what's carried through until now. I think we're at a distinct turning point in the way that luxury brands, in a larger, more general sense, in the way that luxury brands operate, and a pivot point specifically for watches. Pivot.
Pivot! Pivot!
Going back to that previous comment, I think brands are waking up to the purchasing power of women, and there's three big reasons. For one, women have more money than ever before. In a lot of middle-class households, women are now becoming the breadwinners, or at least have a considerable comparable income. For two, it's a pretty proven market for spending excessive money on luxury goods, like an Hermes Kelly bag retails for about $12,000 USD, and they can go as high as $24,000. And for three, there's also the appeal of men buying watches for women. My first fancy luxury watch was a gift from my husband, the Cartier Tank Solo, and it was the nicest and finest thing I'd ever owned, I'd ever received. I am sure that there's a lot of men who are watching this video who have bought their significant other a pretty nice watch, or they desire to. Let's look at the numbers now, and this is going to sound really boring, but it's actually interesting. Hear me out here. So this is a little spreadsheet I made for myself for interpreting the Morgan Stanley Swiss Watch Report for 2024. It's all the same data, it's just laid out in a way that helps me read it better. The brands in green are the brands that performed better between 2023 and 2024, and the brands in red worse. So I was spending a quiet evening at home looking at this data like one does. This is where we're at here, folks. But that's what I was doing with my time. And something that I noticed is that the brands in green are brands that pay a lot of attention to their women's watches and their women's offering and make fantastic women's watches, with the exception of Tag Heuer. Tag is always an enigma. Now, the brands in red have ladies' watches, they have great ladies' watches, but I don't think they have the same appeal as Rolex, Cartier, AP, Patek, or Bulgari. If we take ourselves out of our watch geek bias, these are all brands that not watch geek women love and would aspire to own. Women love a two-tone Datejust or a lady Datejust. I'm not even going to talk about women in Cartier. We all know. I personally know women who aren't watch nerds either, who have 33mm AP Royal Oaks, and they love them. Patek ladies, for me, are hit and miss, but once again, not watch ladies who are rich love them. Richard Mille have made a significant investment into their ladies' watches, and I instantly think of Michelle Yeoh. She looks so badass in an RM. And the Bulgari Serpenti. I went to a Bulgari event in London back in 2024. It was mostly fashion influencers there, literally the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life. They weren't even people, they were divine creatures. But a few watch people, but mostly fashion people. When Bulgari opened the novelties for people to touch and feel and be hands-on, absolutely no one went over to the Octo Finissimos. Everyone went over to the Serpentis. Men and women alike, they wanted to try on the Serpentis. They wanted to look at them, touch them. It was only like the 3 watch people in the room who were at the Octos. These are brands who have invested a lot into making watches that speak to women and marketed appropriately. To be clear, I'm not saying women's watches are the only things that matter right now. Throw out your men's watches. Men's watches will always be the core of most brands, but if female purchasers could represent 30 to 40% of your buying demographic, that's absolutely something worth investing in and creating appealing offerings for. I truly think it will be the difference between the brands on the rise versus the brands in decline over the next decade, but they have to understand how to sell to women and what we're looking for. Omega have recently launched this big women's campaign, My Little Secret. It's the Aquaterra, now in 30mm, with an automatic coaxial movement, the caliber 8750, which was specifically made for this watch and has MEDAS certification. I actually really like this watch. I actually think the watch itself is fantastic. As a standalone product, it's awesome. The big problem for me has been this kind of condescending ad campaign of powerful, awesome women whispering in each other's ears and having a little giggle with the air machine blowing in their hair. I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but I feel so talked down to. I hate this ad campaign. I hate it so much. I hate it enough that it makes me not want to buy this watch, which is a product that I otherwise really like. It's especially bad if you contrast against Rolex. I hate always comparing Rolex and Omega, but Rolex just so happens to have a great example right now with how they launched the Land Dweller. They used 2 amazing brand ambassadors. Yu Jia Wang didn't feel like a silly prop, if that makes sense. She looks like herself in her element wearing this watch. And it's like, bam, yes, connects with me. I don't play the piano. I don't care about the piano, but that's not what it's about. It's about seeing an awesome person in their element and how that watch connects and fits into their life. Luxury is shifting as the world stage and world economics is shifting. I think the brands that capture the female demographic will rise to the top, and those who don't will slump lower. Anyways, guys, that's just a thought I had while I was stewing on the comment that the idea that Nadia threw out into the ether. Thank you so much for that comment as well. It's actually been permeating a lot of my life. I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. You're so amazing. What a legend. And now, let's talk about other legends. The Pope tier patrons. Get their names on the screen. Hello, bonjour, Pope tier patrons. Thank you so much for supporting my weird little channel. I say it all the time, and it's true. I have the best patrons ever. I can't believe anyone likes this weird little channel, but I'm so glad you guys enjoy it. Thank you. You keep the lights on here at Gringa HQ, and I couldn't run this channel without you. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.